one of the questions was really about, okay, so you just released stuff for the first time. And that was like 6 weeks ago? How long ago was that?
May 8th on my birthday. May 8th.
Oh, May 8th. That's right. You know the date exactly. So a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
What I think it would be interesting to, like, what got you to that point where you started wanting to release things? So I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, how do I release things? Right. What do I do it? How do I go about promoting it? All that kind of stuff. But maybe you could just talk about what that process was for you.
You know, it's really interesting with that, because I feel like I've always, and you've probably been the same way, where when you're sending out these these sketches to songwriters, or if you're sending out sketches to the labels, it's almost like you, the producer, you kind of have a cheat code, because you kind of know like the counter melodies that might work with the beat that you created. So it came down to like a process of like, I'm making these beats and I'm doing these scratch melodies, and then I'm sending them out to my friends, and then my friends are sending me back legitimately greater stuff. They're putting words to those melodies, and they're just making these crazy pieces. And then you're sending these things out, and it might not fit for any artist that exists at the present moment. You know, you have that type of situation. So with me, I kind of just woke up one day and was like, I like Calvin Harris, for instance. And, you know, when I look at Calvin Harris, I like him for a reason, because he's able to do multiple genres of music and not have to be like put in this box, you know? So when I started Girls Love Donuts, it was like I had this song that I did this scratch melody on, and I sent it to one of my brothers, DeCarlo, and he did the song for that. And that song was originally going to be for placement. I remember when I did the song, I know exactly where I was and like what I was going through in my mind, and I just needed someone to like articulate that. So then he did that, and it was just one of those things where it's like, you know what? I'm going to release this, but I'm going to do it a little differently. So I called on my guy, Vox God. He mixed Old Town Road. So I was like, if I'm going to call in and if I'm going to do it, I want to do it at the highest level, you know? So I called him, and obviously I could pay him $3,500, but I was just like, hey man, I'll give you a percentage of this record if you can do this mix. Bam. Bartering. Then I obviously asked for permission from DeCarlo if it was something I could release. So then we did a trade for a trade. So now he has a song that he's going to release with a track that I did. And then there was the artwork that was done by my boy Mike, who did the Weed cover. So I was like, oh, he's a great graphic designer. Let me do that. Paid, you know, boom. There was another guy that did the animation. Paid him $150, you know. And then it's another piece where I talked to a distributor, and it's a guy named Danger, and we worked out a deal, and he started pumping the record. We're probably at like 90,000 right now. It's going to keep going, you know. Just Synced in the Shy, which is a TV series coming out next month. And it's just up from there. It's just one. I look at it as real estate. It's one house for a collection of houses that I'm going to put out.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a lot of what that process was for you was using your relationships, because you've done so many things with so many different people and built these great relationships, that it's the collaborations you've done in the past have actually allowed you to then make a record for yourself and call those favors in, and people are down for it because you've been there for other people. You show up.
Ooh. Such a blessing, man. I always believe in a concept of not being transactional in this industry. So I hope that might answer one of the questions. It's like, how do you get in this music industry? How can you help someone? How can you not be transactional? You'd be surprised. I'm getting about 20 emails a week for packs. Yo, I got these samples. I got these samples. I got these samples. And most people don't realize that they're literally sending the exact same samples. Like, everyone's kind of doing the same thing because they might be listening to what's going on the radio now. And I'm the guy that's like, well, if you're hearing things on the radio, you're 6 months behind. So what's the future? Like, you know, and are you sending me the future? So I think people have it down packed where they're like, oh yeah, let's collaborate. But they're probably sending out a pack to like 20 people, or they're cold calling, you know, and then someone uses this sample and then it's just like a whole thing. So I would say, you know, the collaboration process is cool, but you should definitely figure out how you can help someone's situation. Simple as that.
Yeah, how you can add value to people's shit. I mean, I think a lot of people and it's a totally natural thing to try to make connections to people and say like, hey, I'm willing to help you, or I'm willing to do whatever, or ask for feedback, or try to take somebody to lunch and those sort of things. But the thing that eclipses all that shit is, hey, I got these things that are great. Let me send them to you. Let me collaborate with you. Let me offer you value. That shit is that's kind of everything, because there's so many people that can make records now that what separates you from the rest of the pack?
That too. And then another thing that I would say is consistency. Like, if you really, 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 truly believe that I and you would make this crazy thing, it's like, do you tap in? Do you get discouraged if someone doesn't hit you back? If you do get discouraged because someone hasn't hit you back over your particular records, can you accept criticism? Honestly, open criticism without feeling away and bringing that energy to those people that you're trying to get to. You know, I think it's something to be said about that. You know, just genuinely doing something without trying to be transactional. Hey, I really want to help you, Matt. Here, can I give you these things? Boom. It's like, sure. Then it's like, yo, let's go over here and do this thing. Cool. You know, it's not transactional. I want to help you. I don't need anything from you. All right, here you go. Boom. We'll just do even real business. And then, you know, to the next one, you know, and that's kind of
the reality is just a large percentage of time for everybody in this industry is not getting called back, not getting people not responding, people being late to shit, people being inconsistent. Like, if you can be consistently positive and show up and be reliable, you're actually ahead of like 95% of people.
Man, it's crazy,
like,
isn't it?
How many people are really reliable? Really? What percentage of people are really reliable?
I would say it's 3%, probably. Maybe 3%.
3%?
You know? Yeah, I would say 3% of people
3%.
are reliable. Because you got to think about it, like, those people that aren't reliable, you don't really blame them. It might be situational. Like, somebody might need to pay rent, so they're like, "Well, I'm only available for what pays my rent." I get it.
Yeah,
you know, at the end of the day,
I get it too.
I just, you know, but I also see how people prioritize things off of just status. I think the goal in music, to me, is to get into a creative flow, a momentum, so that you can crank out a bunch of things while being creative and not being so hard on yourself if you're not creative, and also not being so hard on yourself if you're not where you want to be. Just kind of objectively looking at it and being like, well, where do I want to be, and who's in the position that I want to be in? You know what I'm saying? Mars, he's one of the guys. You know what I'm saying? Just another dude. Like, you know, I feel like Mars and he's one of the 1,500. You know, like crazy producer. He's done some of the craziest shit ever. And, you know, it's like, I've known him for such a long time. It's like, yo, and it's never been a like, yo, man, when we getting into work, you know, I'm not ever making someone feel like they have to do anything for me. I'm blessed. Like, if I didn't do music, I would have been in architecture. Love, bro. I would have been in architecture. I would have been doing something else. I would have been making money. Making money is one small part of being creative. And I think that's one of the things that people need to stop doing. The reason why it's only 3% of consistency is because there's just people that just want to be rich. So they're just like, I can download Fruity Loops. I can just make these quick beats real quick and sell them for $50, $100, you know, whatever. They don't really love music, man. And I think anything that you truly don't love, how can you be a superstar in it?
It's a very low percentage of people that are successful that are just trying to be rich. You know, so much of the music industry, like when you really work with the top people, every one of those people is like trying to make the best music, trying to make the best art,